Hey, it's Leo. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a book haul, and I'm going to be sharing some books that I've gotten by womanist authors. Womanist is a term that was coined in 1983 by Alice Walker, the author and activist, and it indicates a Black feminist. This term is important because it recognizes the experiences of Black women are different than the experiences of other women, particularly recognizing the racism that exists frequently in white feminist spaces. I'm really excited about the books that I'm going to haul today and share with you. Some of them came from some recommendations and others I came across in my own research. So let's get started. But first, if you're a returning viewer, you know that with each video I lift up a different nonprofit that's doing good in the world. I do this to remind myself of all of the people who are just working and busting their butts to make the world a better place. I'll make a donation and I encourage you to like, share, follow, or donate as you are inspired. I'm really excited about this week's organization. This week, I am lifting up the Black Feminist Project. Seemed appropriate given the book haul. So the Black Feminist Project enriches the lives of, restores agency, justice, joy, and health to Black women, girls, and non-men, often referred to as marginalized genders or MAGEs, and the children they care for, with an emphasis on mother-led families, using dynamic and engaging food and reproductive justice programming that explores not only the intersections of race, class, gender, and respectability politics, but also empowers them to tap into their inherent leadership abilities and dare to put themselves at the center of their own universes. One of the programs that they have, which is really exciting, is a farm in the Bronx, and I'm going to link to a YouTube video where they talk about that farm and the green space and the ways that they're helping with meal prep, and it's pretty amazing. So I'll make a donation and I encourage you to check it out. I found the Black Feminist Project through a recommendation by a Facebook page of a friend of mine who I follow, Jessica Davis Church Consulting, and I would like to also recommend that all of you go and like her page as well. I recommend her page both for church peeps and non-church peeps, and she's a fabulous ally to the LGBTQIA+ community. So why am I recommending a church consulting page for all of you? She recommends some great actions for helping us to resist white supremacy and to dismantle racism. She provides some opportunities for ways to support Black and non-white women and marginalized genders. She puts a lot of effort into some reflection questions that she shares at different times of the year. So for example, during Black History Month, she's sharing different reflection questions. I'll share a couple of them. She wrote, "Who are the Black writers, creators who most influence your life, and how have they affected you?" And then she also wrote, "3 times in the last 2 days, Black femme friends of mine have talked about white people using them as emotional support animals. It is such a common experience for us, one that I know I often just go along with, because to refuse puts us in danger. And it's a kind of danger that often turns spiteful and ripples out to other more vulnerable people. For example, you wouldn't listen to me complain about my marriage for 3 hours straight, so I'm going to cut off funding for that after-school program you run. So I go along to get along, all the while furious at myself for encouraging a master-slave mentality." So today's question is, where do you see Black femmes being treated like emotional support animals in your life? Are you the one doing it? People at your job? At your child's school? How might you intervene without increasing their risk? So I'm very grateful for Jessica Davis and the work that she puts into her Facebook page and providing these reflection questions and ways for us to actively work to dismantle white supremacy. So I definitely encourage you give her a like and check her out. All right, let's get started with the books. The first book that I want to share is from Alice Walker, who coined the term womanism. So this is Hard Times Require Furious Dancing, and it is a book of poems. I want to read a little bit of the blurb to you because I really appreciated what it said. From the preface, "Though we have encountered our share of grief and troubles on this earth, we can still hold the line of beauty, form, and beat. No small accomplishment in a world as challenging as this one. I was born to grow, alongside my garden of plants, poems like this one." So writes Alice Walker in this new book of poems composed over the course of 1 year in response to joy and sorrow, both personal and global, the death of loved ones, war, the deliciousness of love, environmental devastation, the sorrow of rejection, greed, poverty, and the sweetness of home. The poems embrace our connections while celebrating the joy of individuality, the power we each share to express our truest, deepest selves. Beloved for her ability to speak her own truth in ways that speak for and about countless others, she demonstrates that we are stronger than our circumstances. As she confronts personal and collective challenges, her words dance, sing, and heal. The next book that I hauled is Red Lip Theology, with a great subtitle, "For Church Girls Who've Considered Tithing to the Beauty Supply Store When Sunday Morning Isn't Enough." And this is by Candice Marie Benbow. I also found this recommendation on Jessica Davis's page, so that's partly why I decided to lift her up as well in this video. So in this blurb, it says, Benbow writes powerfully about experiences at the heart of her Black womanhood. In honoring her single mother's love and triumphs and mourning her unexpected passing, she finds herself forced to shed restrictions she'd been taught to place on her faith practice. And by embracing alternative spirituality and womanist theology and confronting staid attitudes on body positivity and LGBTQ+ rights, Benbow challenges religious institutions, faith leaders, and communities to reimagine how faith can be a tool of liberation and transformation for women and girls. Blurring the boundaries of righteous and irreverent, red-lip theology invites us to discover freedom in a progressive Christian faith that incorporates activism, feminist, and radical authenticity. The next book that I'm hauling, I bought off of a recommendation from Ashley at Bookish Realm, and that is Thick and Other Essays by Tressie McMillan Cottom. From the blurb. In 8 highly praised treatises on beauty, media, money, and more, Tressie McMillan Cottom, award-winning professor and acclaimed author of Lower Ed, is unapologetically thick. Deemed thick where I should have been thin, more where I should have been less, McMillan Cottom refuses to shy away from blending the personal and the political, from bringing her full self and voice to the fore of her analytical work. Thick transforms narrative moments into analyses of whiteness, Black misogyny, and status signaling as a means of survival for Black women. With writing that is as deft as it is amusing, she turns her chosen form into a showcase for her critical dexterity, investigating everything from Saturday Night Live, LinkedIn, and Barbecue Becky to sexual violence, infant mortality, and Trump rallies. The next book I hauled is Resurrection Hope, A Future Where Black Lives Matter by Kelly Brown Douglas. The Reverend Kelly Brown Douglas is the canon theologian at the Washington National Cathedral. The blurb starts with this quote, "How do we really know that God cares when Black people are still getting killed? How long do we have to wait for the justice of God? I get it that Christ is Black, but that doesn't seem to be helping us right now." End quote. These questions from her son prompted theologian Kelly Brown Douglas to undertake this soul-searching reflection. The killing of George Floyd and the ongoing litany of Black victims raised questions about the persistence of white supremacy in this nation, leading her to reflect on how a white way of knowing has come to dominate American identity and even to shape the consciousness of Christians. In exploring the message of Confederate monuments and the Make America Great Again slogan, she examines the failures of even good white Christians and struggles with the hope that Black lives matter, before reaching deep into her own experience and the faith of Black folks to find her way back to resurrection hope. The next book is I Bring the Voices of My People, A Womanist Vision for Racial Reconciliation by Shaniqua Walker Barnes. From the blurb, it says this book is disrupting the racist and sexist biases in conversations on reconciliation. Walker Barnes argues that highlighting the voices of women of color is critical to developing any genuine effort towards reconciliation. Drawing upon intersectionality theory and critical race studies, she demonstrates how living at the intersection of racism and sexism exposes women of color to unique experiences of gendered racism that are not about relationships, but are about systems of power and inequity. Refuting the idea that race and racism are one size fits all, I Bring the Voices of My People highlights the particular work that white Americans must do to repent of racism and to work toward racial justice, and offers a constructive view of reconciliation that prioritizes eliminating racial injustice and healing the damage that has been done to African Americans and other people of color. The next book I got was recommended on Doza's book of favorite books of 2021, and that is A Decolonial Feminism by Françoise Verge, with Ashley J. Borer translating. From the blurb. For too long, feminism and multiculturalism have been co-opted by the forces they seek to dismantle. However, in this manifesto, Françoise Verge argues that feminists should no longer be handmaidens of capitalism, colonialism, and imperialism, and fight the system that created the boss, built the prisons, and polices women's bodies. Attuned to the temporalities of contemporary struggles, the book incorporates issues such as Eurocentrism, whiteness, power, inclusion, and exclusion within feminist discourse. Throughout, we touch upon feminist and anti-racist histories, as well as assessing contemporary activism, including Me Too and the women's strike. Centering colonialism and imperialism within intersectional Marxism, this is an urgent demand to free ourselves from the capitalist, imperialist forces that oppress us. Next I hauled If God Still Breathes, Why Can't I by Angela N. Parker. The blurb says, Angela Parker wasn't just trained to be a biblical scholar, she was trained to be a white male biblical scholar. She is neither white nor male. Dr. Parker's experience of being taught to forsake her embodied identity in order to contort herself into the stifling construct of whiteness is common among American Christians, regardless of their race, ethnicity, gender, or sexual orientation. This book calls the power structure behind this experience what it is: white supremacist authoritarianism. As Dr. Parker shows, these doctrines are less about the text of the Bible itself and more about the arbiters of its interpretation. Historically, white males in positions of power who have used scripture to justify control over marginalized groups. This oppressive use of the Bible has been suffocating. To learn to breathe again, Dr. Parker says, we must let God breathe in us. We must read the Bible as authoritative but not authoritarian. We must become conscious of the particularity of our identities as we also become conscious of the particular identities of the biblical authors from whom we draw inspiration. The last book I'm hauling is Hope in the Holler, A Womanist Theology. This is by A. Elaine Brown Crawford. For more than 300 years, Black women have embodied the theology of hope, which has enabled them to overcome a history of abuse and violence. While a theology of hope has been widely discussed in 20th century theology, it was born in slavery long before Jürgen Moltmann introduced it to America in 1967. Even womanist notions of hope have not explored the theological character of hope in abused Black women's narratives. A. Elaine Brown Crawford argues that hope is the theological construct that moves Black women beyond endurance and survival to transformation of their personal and communal realities. This book identifies and analyzes the theological vision of hope voiced within the narratives of enslaved, emancipated, and contemporary Black women and brings that vision into discussion with contemporary womanist theologies. All right, so here's my haul. Several of these were about womanist theologians, so I'm also going to link a really great video from Union Theological Seminary that's about 12 minutes long that talks about womanist theologians and their experiences as Black feminist theologians and some background for their experience. Thanks for watching. I'm excited about each of these books. They are different but also have some common themes, and I'm hoping that I can get to each of them in 2022. What are some womanist books that you have been reading that you would recommend or that are on your TBR? I'd love to hear about them. Please let me know in the comments below. And if you're so inclined, please like and subscribe and do all the things. You can also find my Twitter and Storygraph accounts in the description box. I hope you have a wonderful day, and until next time, happy reading.